welcome to the Book of the Month Club, and we're so excited to have with us tonight Steffanie Rivers out of Dallas, Texas. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Claire, for having me.
We're so happy to have you to be able to talk about your book. Just by us sitting up talking these last few minutes, I'm excited to know some of the things that you're going to share with us. The name of your book is The Do's and the Don'ts of Flying, a Flight Attendant's Guide to Airline Travel Secrets. Yes. And we're excited about you sharing with us about this book. And we just want to ask you, what motivated you to write the book about the do's and the don'ts of flying?
Well, Dr. Clary, I've been a flight attendant for about 3.5 years, and what I've noticed is passengers, they come onto the plane and they do some of the same things that they shouldn't, and there's things that they should do, they don't do. So because I fly a lot, I've flown over 1,000 flights, working flights, in addition to my own personal travel.
Yes.
And then I thought, well, Steph, maybe they don't know. Maybe you should share your knowledge with them. So that has motivated me to write this book.
Well, I'm excited about you telling us about some of the do's. Could you tell us some of the do's that we should do concerning when we get ready to go on the flights? Do the do's first, and then let us know what we don't do. Because as I shared with you earlier, you know, some of the things that I hadn't flown in a couple of years, and I didn't know because I didn't research.
Right.
I didn't research. We have a lot of people that don't research. We just think that we can put in our suitcases what we want, and then when we get there, we find out we lose a lot of stuff because we just didn't know.
Correct. So the first thing that passengers should do, people should do, is they should research. If you are going on a holiday trip, a lot of people don't fly but once or twice a year, first of all. Right. So when they go on a trip, and things change from month to month, from, you know, at the airport and through the security, what is allowed, what might not be allowed. And so they need to go to ask TSA on Twitter, maybe ask them questions on Twitter, or go to the tsa.gov website and just find out what is required of me before I show up to the airport. So do your research, okay? And then do show up to the airport in plenty of time in case something goes wrong, that you have time to fix it and it doesn't cost you your flight. So those are the main do things. A lot of people, you know, you show up at the last minute and then you see how long the security line is, and then you got all this stuff in your bag, and then you're already nervous and you're sweating. And so you know, so that would be what I would suggest. Do your research and do show up hours before your flight is supposed to take off. Be in the air security line no later than 90 minutes. An hour and a half before your flight is scheduled to leave. So in case they pull you to the side and say, hey, we're going to do a random security search of you, then you won't say, you know, you won't have to say, but my flight is leaving in 5 minutes. And so then here you are, you're either going to miss your flight or you're going to jail, because they ain't going to let you through security without that special treatment. So that's what I would suggest.
So those are do's. So what are some of the don'ts? Did we cover that?
Oh, no, there are a lot of don'ts.
Let's talk about the don'ts that I mean, you said there's a lot of them. So let's kind of cover the don'ts that we shouldn't be doing, because, you know, I'm getting ready to start back traveling again, and I'm going to be flying. So go ahead and let me know what I don't want to do.
Well, essentially, don't overpack. You know, a lot of people overpack, and so one of the things that they end up doing is they either have to pay extra to check the bag, and because it's too heavy, and so then they don't want to spend the money, so then they end up trying to bring it through security, and then they end up having to throw away some of the things that TSA says you can't bring onto the plane. So I would say don't overpack. Just know, you know, we all want to look fly, and we want to have different colors on and different this and that.
Yes.
But you might want to coordinate and make it just all yellow or all purple
Yeah.
or something, so you can bring 2 or 3 pairs of pants and
Yeah.
one, so you can color coordinate and don't have to bring everything in your closet.
That's one of the things that one of the old mothers taught me. She said normally you take black, browns, whatever, and take your pair of black shoes or black, and that was hard for me because it's like you say, I love everything matching.
Right.
But what happened is I overpacked. What is the normal rate? I mean, the weight that we should be looking for, so that so what I started doing was running the Winn-Dixie, putting my suitcase and weighing it.
Weighing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is the normal weight?
That's a good idea, though. But if your bag weighs more than 30 pounds, they are probably going to charge you more. Now, each airline, has their own rules as to how much money they might charge you, or how heavy your bag can be. But let's say 30 pounds. So if your bag is not if your bag is not really heavy, and you don't overpack, then you shouldn't have to bring it on board and not be able to lift it into the bin.
Right.
Because that's one thing that passengers do, that flight attendants, we want to be helpful, we want
Right.
to be accommodating, but if you bring on a bag that's too heavy for you to lift into the overhead
Right.
bin and you packed it, why
Right.
would you expect me to have to lift it?
Yeah.
So do not pack more than you can handle.
Yes.
And if you feel like it's too heavy, or you just had an operation and you can't lift
Yeah.
that much, then go ahead and check that bag.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
you can, roll it away from baggage claim. Nobody had to lift it except
Yeah,
the guys,
yeah.
and that's what they do. They get paid to lift heavy bags.
Okay. Give me another don't.
I would say don't. Well, let me start here. Each airport has about 10 to 20 bathrooms and water fountains.
Right.
So some people, for some strange reason, Dr. Clary, they wait till they step foot onto the airplane and then they want to use the bathroom during boarding.
Really?
Yes, and so that holds up the boarding process.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, and
Do they actually wait? They get on the plane and then decide that they need to use the bathroom?
bathroom. Now I don't know if they are just nervous, or they, you have a lot of stuff on your mind when you're going through security and all
Right.
that. I don't know why they do it, but most of them, they wait, they come on board, they put their stuff in the bin, then they run to the bathroom.
Wow.
And of course the bathrooms are smaller, the size
Yes.
of outhouse basically.
Right.
And so you just passed up a very clean bathroom that gets all the attention that it needs to come onto a small little outhouse on board.
Yes.
Where it's only going to get attention at the next stop.
Right.
And so there's going to be 100 to 200 people about to use that bathroom.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to be first to use the
Yeah.
bathroom. I don't know.
Yeah.
But essentially, we're just trying to encourage people, that there's a process to this boarding thing.
Right.
And so if you want us to leave on time, if you want to get to your connecting gate on time,
Yes.
then it starts right here. Don't just come on and then start going to the bathroom, or they might come to the back to the galley and say, "Hey, I need to take a pill. Can you give me some water?" Okay,
Wow.
you just left a water fountain, and right now
Right,
you need
right.
to take water right now.
Right.
So and I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm
understand,
just really
yes.
trying to share what we see,
Yes.
on every flight.
Yes.
And so those are two of the things I would say for passengers to don't do. Just be aware that it is a process, and passengers are more in control of that process than the airline is at that point.
Okay,
Sure,
okay.
we have, a time that the flight is supposed to leave,
Right.
but if we, according to our guidelines, everybody has to be seated, and
Yeah.
the overhead bins have to be closed,
Right.
and so we can't just push back when everybody's standing in the aisle, and
Yeah.
they're falling. Everybody has to be seated. So in order for that to happen, passengers either come on, stow your stuff, and have a seat and get out of everybody else's way.
Yeah, move out of the way. Yeah, those are two good. Those are two good ones. Is there anything else that you want to share?
Well, sure, because these days, it used to be that the only way you could bring a pet on a flight is as
A pet?
right, a pet, like a cat or a dog. The only way you could do that is if it was stowed
Under. Yeah.
right underneath the
Right.
with the bags. Well, now these days, some people consider their pets to be
That's
their
it.
children, be as important as
Oh
a
my
person,
goodness.
and so they bring them on
On board?
on board, right? So there's a process for that now. But pets can be as small as a
Right.
Fifi that
Right.
sits on my lap.
Right.
Or a pet I've seen pets be as huge as a Marmaduke, a Great Dane.
Oh my
and
God.
and so it's because some people say, well, I need a comfort. This my pet is my comforter, and so they
Wow.
bring these huge animals on, and you can't really question them because they have the paperwork that says that this is my service pet. Yes. And so now you've got pets, you got people who pay thousands of dollars for a ticket to go somewhere, and they don't realize that they could be seated next to
Wow.
a dog or a cat
Yes.
that might not like other people.
Right.
So now you've got the possibility of a passenger who might have a pet allergy in the same flight in the same area as somebody who has
Yes,
their pet.
yes.
So there are a lot of potential conflicts that can happen in that arena that flight attendants have to deal with. And so I would
Wow.
just say, if you are someone who wants to fly with a pet, know the rules, and most importantly, know your pet. Okay, if the pet is like hissing at folks and barking at people, that's not the dog you want to bring.
Oh
That's,
my goodness. Yes.
So that is another important one.
I didn't know that because I'm not a lover of cats. So I would probably flip out if someone next to me, because I don't like the purring.
Right.
And
right.
so I probably would flip
and
out.
the cat hair, the pet hair,
Yeah,
and all
alright,
of that,
yeah.
And I don't want to seem negative because
Yes.
I'm a pet person. I like dogs. I'm a dog person.
Right, I like dogs.
But in certain situations,
Yes.
my dog stays in the yard.
Yeah.
The dog is not coming with me on my flight. But some
Yes.
people, they are willing to pay extra for that, and that is another source of income for the airline. So of course they are
Wow.
looking at that source of income, so they're not going to deny you the access to bring your pet on, especially if they can charge you more money to do that. So that in turn is what happens.
We're going to get ready to go to a break, but I just want to ask right quick. You got a big dog. So what did that big dog do? It have his own seat?
No, the dogs, the pets either sit on your lap, or they're supposed to be able to fit underneath the seat in front of you, so a little section. Now, if it's that huge of a dog, the dog is not going to fit there. So that means your pet is essentially taking up the room of the person who is next to you in your row.
Wow.
So then, it becomes like an encroachment on another passenger's space for them to have to share their space with your pet.
Right.
And so therein lies the problem, because now if you are that person who feels like your space is being invaded, then you're looking at me with help me eyes.
Yeah, please.
Help me do something. Which leads me to another thing. If you are someone and you feel like your body width cannot fit in the seat that you're assigned to, that one spot, and I know seats are getting smaller and the leg room is getting shorter. I know that, but if you know that you probably need more space than that chair is gonna give you, you might want to purchase 2 seats. Okay, because that's only fair to you, so you can feel comfortable, and that's only fair to the person who might be assigned that seat next to you, and they only get half a seat.
Right.
Because you taking up their other half.
Right.
So that's not fair.
Well, we're going to go to a break, and we're going to, because I have questions about, heavy set people, and then they have to get an extra seat. And, is that paying for a whole, another person? And so we're going to go on break, and we're going to come right back. This is very interesting. I wouldn't have never thought of all this, but we're going to come right back, and don't go anywhere. Just stay there. And this is very interesting, and I can't wait to hear more.
All right.
There's a whole lot more on Preach the Word Worldwide Network TV. Hundreds of inspirational TV shows you can enjoy 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Find us on Roku, smart TVs, or download us from the Google Play Store on your Android phone. Visit us online for program and TV distribution listings at www.preachthewordnetwork.com. That's www.preachthewordnetwork.com.
Welcome back. We are having such a great conversation about Steffanie Rivers' book, The Do's and the Don'ts of Flying, a flight attendant guides to airline travel secret. This has been good because it's a lot of information that she's sharing with us that has been very valuable, because I didn't know that animals can travel now. And now we just want to kind of take back off where we was, and we want to talk about oversized people.
Okay.
Let's talk about oversized people, because I think I saw the movie with Janet Jackson, and I can't remember, Why Did We Get Married? And the lady, had to get off the plane because she was over. Yeah. So
Jill
that was
Scott
kind of
was that part.
Okay. So I just thought that was just mean and nasty.
And you know what? It is a very sensitive issue when you have to approach someone, or to because when people book their flights online, you don't know what size they are, and then they show up to the gate, and if it's a packed trip, like most of the time, if you're going to Orlando, or if you're going to Miami, these are like Chicago, the flights are booked solid. So you show up, and you end up being in a situation where you have to say to somebody, sir or ma'am, you might want to consider going to a less booked flight, because you're going to need more space. And so it's something that we must do. You must address it, because it's not fair to the people who might be seated next to you to have to be squished into a half of a seat, and when they pay for a whole seat. And so those are so if the size of the seats are getting smaller and smaller. I agree.
Why is that?
Well, it's a number of reasons, but because the airline is just trying to make more money, and they only have a certain amount of space to play with, so they make the sizes smaller. And then if you want to get assigned to a row with more room, more space, then they're going to charge you more.
So they do have seats that has
more space.
Right. Okay, I didn't know that either.
But now these days, those are called premium seats.
Wow.
And so they will charge you more to sit in those seats.
Okay.
So, that's just another way for them to charge more money. And I'm not saying that's good or bad.
Right.
Everybody's trying to figure out a way to make more with the same, or make more with less.
Right.
So that's one of the ways that the airlines have decided they can make more money, is to charge more for the seats that have more space.
Yeah.
So for the rest of us who we don't want to pay that extra money, then we end up maybe having to deal with less space, which leads me to a lot of things that we see on the flights is a conflict between passengers, where the person in front of you wants to lean all the way back, like they at the house, okay, in the lazy boy.
Yes.
And you, if you're tall like us, there's not really a lot of space for your knees.
Yeah.
So that, I just ask that we all be courteous and considerate of other passengers, because that's only right. Right? So, just because your seat can lean all the way back doesn't mean that you have to do that.
Yes.
Because, the more you lean back, the less space there is for the person behind you.
Yeah, because I have been in some very uncomfortable, on the flights, where, like you say, people want to lay back like they're in their recliner at home, and you're trying to not, cause conflict or whatever. So you're miserable.
Yeah,
you are miserable during the flight,
and it depends on how long. Depends on how long the flight is.
Yes,
right? Yes. Because you might be able to, do it for an hour.
Atlanta to Tallahassee.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're going, to Los Angeles or something, now it's gonna be a problem. And so flight attendants become, we gotta, break up fights and arguments and all of that.
Wow.
And so we just want for our passengers to know that these are some of the common things that we see that occur. And that's another thing I want to bring up, Dr. Clary, is that I'm not doing this to be mean-spirited, writing this book. I'm writing the book because I want people to know
knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Applied knowledge is power.
It's very powerful. Well, let me tell you what I want to talk about. Kids on the flight.
Children on the flight.
Oh,
Children
God,
on the flight.
Horrible.
Well, we all used to be a little somebody's little baby.
Yes,
okay.
Lord.
So, but I would just urge parents to be more aware of the needs of their children. That your child needs certain things, whether it be milk or toys or a book or whatever, to keep them, occupied.
Right.
So we are an airline. We're not Toys R Us.
Right.
Okay, we don't have toys and stuff. Now, you might, as a parent, you might have a flight attendant who has some toys. She might pull out something out of her pocket. But that's that individual flight attendant. Now, just as across the board general, we love kids, but we don't have toys just waiting to give to kids. Okay?
Yeah, I've had horrible experience with that.
And so we want you as a parent to be aware of that. Bring what you need for your children, including diapers and milk and stuff.
Yes.
And so that seat back the tray table on the seat back is not for changing your baby.
Yes.
And so, just those, what I want to say is those common sense things.
Yeah.
But Dr. Clary, the older I get, the more I realize common sense ain't so common.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Okay, we have a little more time, so let's talk about connecting flights.
Okay. Well, the airline has a schedule of when flights take off and land, and so if you are trying to get to your connecting flight, most people don't want to, understandably, spend that much time in the airport on the way to their special event. But here's the thing. Things happen, whether it's a mechanical or weather or, a delay. Things happen. So I would advise, don't make your connecting flight any closer than an hour from the time that you are scheduled to land.
Okay.
Most people, they'll come on board and then they're like, oh, my connecting flight is leaving in 20 minutes after we supposed to land. Am I going to make it?
Yeah.
Probably not, Ladybug.
Yeah.
Probably not. But you didn't think about that before you made it. So, it's in me as a flight attendant and us as the flight crew, we're not in control of when we can't make them stay and hold the flight for you to run through the airport.
Right.
Because that's not fair to the people who were there on time.
Yes.
Did you think of that?
Nah. I didn't, because I've done it.
Oh, see.
Yeah. Well, you got to be running,
Right. And
yes.
so, you're hoping that they hold the flight.
Right.
You're hoping that you know the way. Most people, especially if you don't travel that often, you've never been to the airport where you're trying to make the flight, so you don't know where you're going. You know, which way do I go? And so you're in a frenzy.
Yes.
And so give yourself time. Time is on your side if you give yourself about an hour to get to your flight.
Right.
So that says that if there's a mechanical delay or we got weather or something happens, I can still breathe easy that I'm going to make my connecting flight.
Yes. Well, I just want to ask another question, and that question is, what made you want to be a flight attendant?
Well, I'm a journalist by profession. I used to be a TV reporter and a newspaper reporter in North Carolina, D.C., and Maryland. And I still write and do things, which is why I was able to do this book so freely. Most people have a problem with writing, but that was my gift.
Wow.
And so I wanted to become a flight attendant because I love to travel, and I got more time than I got money.
Yeah.
And if you are if you work in the airline industry, you get free air travel.
Yes.
And so my mother loves to travel too, and this is my gift to her because we travel a lot together.
That's good.
In fact, we just came from Thailand for my birthday in September. And it was awesome. We had a beautiful time. So this allows me to give her something that we love to do, and it helps us to spend time together.
Well, Steffanie, I have truly enjoyed this conversation, and it's been a very good. It's wasn't pulling. It was just a flow with it, and we just want you to look into the camera, if you will, and kind of give some information of how they can contact you. Let them know how that they can get this book. Let them know if it's on Amazon. If it's on Amazon, look into that camera. If it's on Amazon, let them know how that they can contact you and where to look for this book.
Sure. So the book is The Do's and Don'ts of Flying, A Flight Attendant's Guide to Airline Travel Secrets, and it is on Amazon. If you have a Kindle, you can get it on Amazon. If you have a Nook, you can go to Barnes & Noble, and if you have an Apple device, you can go to iTunes, and it will be in the stores. The hard copy will be at Barnes & Nobles. And so if you want to reach out to me, you can go to info@SteffanieRivers.com. So info@Steffanieriversmyname.com.
Well, it has been such an honor to talk to you about this book, and I'm excited about my trip now. And I just think it
You're
was
more informed. You're going to be a
very
model
informed
passenger.
I am, and I'm just praying. We're wrapping it up, so we just want to thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, and it has been such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.